Okay, it says we're live. Welcome everyone to my live stream with my friend and fellow coach Shahrzad. We are so excited. I see everyone joining. There's already people typing in the chat. It made me schedule it for 1:30, but 1:45 was the official start time. So can you guys let us know if you can see us and hear us okay? And I just want to welcome Shahrzad. Welcome. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Shahrzad is an amazing love and relationship coach who helps women attract the kind of love that they want and feel fully seen and adored and heard in their relationship. So welcome and thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you so much, Helena. It's my absolute pleasure. I'm so excited for this topic.
I'm excited too. I did a live stream about a week ago and I got so many requests for this topic, how to have difficult conversations with a man, how to talk about things like exclusivity and, end recurring conflict and have negotiations and some of these difficult topics that come up when you're dating and in relationships. And you're just a total expert at this. I wanted to invite you on to talk about all of this. So let's just jump right in and thank you guys so much for letting us know that everything's working. If anything weird happens with the sound or video, just let me know in the chat. And if you guys have any questions for us about how to have some of these difficult conversations with a man in a way that really deepens the intimacy and brings the two of you closer, we would love to help you guys out. We have about 30 to 40 minutes today. So Shahrzad, let's just jump right in. What are some of the biggest mistakes or struggles you see when it comes to having these difficult conversations with a man?
Great question. And this is a topic very, very close to my heart. I just wanted to first talk about it because having difficult conversations was one of my biggest struggles. It was something that I struggled with the most, and I tried to, I didn't know how to handle them. So when I healed it, when I was able to learn the skills, it is truly one of the things that has massively changed my love life and the way I do relationships. So it's so good. And I completely relate to women that have these problems because it was the biggest one for me. So I would say the biggest mistake that women make when it comes to having difficult conversation is to avoid them until they can't avoid it anymore.
Oh, that's really good. That is so good. And that was totally my tendency too. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't like conflict. I tend to avoid conflict and just want to like smooth everything over so everybody's comfortable. And, that's totally my tendency. What would you say to women who have that thing in them where they don't want to bring up some of these tough conversations?
I want to tell them that I hear you. I totally get it. It is scary. It is brings up the little girl within us that is so scared of conflict, especially if we are the girls that have witnessed it as little children with our parents and not being modeled communication skills that are actually go somewhere as opposed to just everything blowing up. So we are really, really scared to bring up a topic that or a topic of a conversation that would end up with that screaming or withdrawing and all of that. And I have total compassion for that. And the reason that we can't avoid them is because they're not going to go anywhere. We may put a pretty bow on it. We might shove it down. We might want to not deal with it in the moment because it feels uncomfortable. But what we suppress and what we push down, it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger within us. So like I said in the beginning, we avoid it until we can't anymore and we explode. We either get really, really out of control. And, there is one thing that the guy does that is, not so great. And then we end up remembering 200 other things that he didn't do right. And we just let him have it. And he's like, what happened? Why didn't you tell me any of this? And this is the kind of a conversation that's just not going to get us anywhere. And it just causes, sadness and heartbreak in playing game and criticizing. So that's why we have to nip it in the bud and do it before it gets too late.
Absolutely. And I'm just laughing over here because who hasn't experienced that? I know I've certainly been there where a guy just does one little thing and there's so much anger and resentment bubbling up from something else because we're often stuffing down our own needs and desires that we end up just exploding on him. And it's this disproportionate reaction to something actually, quite small. And then, of course, he's confused because he didn't know anything was wrong in the first place. So I totally get that. I just want to say hi to everybody's watching. Laurette, Britt, Christina, Aldina, everybody. Sharon, first time in the live chat. Lauren says, my favorite guest is on. I know everybody loves Shahrzad. She's so awesome. Christina says, I very recently was trying to have a grown-up conversation with a man, and all he kept reverting back to was drinking and my breasts. Then he accused me of being too serious. I just backed away. Yeah, good reaction for that. Absolutely. Britt says, I need to have a difficult conversation with my ex. I'm still in love with him, and he messages me every day about our son. I feel depleted. Any words of wisdom there, Shahrzad? We might need a little more information.
We do need a little bit of information on what, when there is an ex and when there is a child involved, obviously there needs to be some communication, especially if you're co-parenting. So you want to keep it as healthy as possible, so you don't dread every time you see his message, and you don't go right away into trigger town and want to, get out of it. So yes, give us a little bit more details of what are the context of the text, and I will definitely be happy to address that. But the reason that I like the lady that said he reverts to drinking and breast, that really does sound unhealthy. But the serious part, which not with her, but when men find us too serious and they blame us for being too serious, there is underlying things in that context. And so I would love for her to explore that and see what's up with her.
Yeah, absolutely. She just said, he lives in another state. I'm so nice. He just seems to be messaging me for my warmth, but he left us. Okay, so she's probably feeling abandoned, like he left us, but he still wants that contact, probably that access to that feminine energy, amazing warmth that she has. Anything you have to say there, Shahrzad?
Well, yes, if you're nice and you're sweet, when you're a magnet for all men. So this comes to your own boundary and, your realization that this isn't really working for me. Like, it's not a one-way street. You come and get my warmth and I am not going to get anything out of it. So what we want to really, really focus on is having difficult conversation with men that are actually showing up for us in a healthy manner. And we don't want to sabotage those relationships and make something that is amazing into a disaster, which I used to be a master of for many, many years. I used to really sabotage relationships for the very fact that I couldn't speak up when I had to. So, for example, I was in a relationship where the guy always brought up his ex. And this was a very, very triggering thing for me. He was always speaking highly of her or talking about stories. And the thought process in my head, for example, was, if you show that you don't like it when he talks about it, you're going to come off as insecure. You're going to come off as you're not cool and you're scared. So you got to put on a face and you got to act like it was cool. So while my face was showing, yeah, sure, tell me more, I was on the inside really angry about it. I was really like, why is he doing that? And I was really, really upset. So that's one thing that we cannot fool with energy. Whether or not our face says something, but there is that energy within us that is complete contradiction with it, and we are in complete inauthenticity. And that is one of the, and men can sense that, men can feel that, and it pushes them away, because when they feel that you're not even honoring your own feelings, why should they? Of course, it's not something that they can think about, but they just feel this dishonesty and inauthenticity.
That is so true. It is so, so true. It's like if your feelings and your vibe on the inside is not matching your words and your body language and what you're conveying on the outside, a man can feel that, and it makes him feel like he can't trust you on a deep level. Again, this is often subconscious, but it's almost like, well, she doesn't feel safe within herself. She's not safe expressing her own feelings. So how can I ever feel safe with her? And a man might not be able to put his finger on it, but it'll keep him at a distance for sure. It'll keep him at arm's length. Shahrzad, have you found that to be true?
Well, 100%, 100%. It has always backfired for me when I went down that road, because while I was acting like that and I seemed cool, but the anger within me came out at another moment. Like whether or not he was 5 minutes late, I would make a big deal out of it, not knowing that it was really, really about something else. So a man can appreciate a woman that can actually say, this doesn't feel good to me. When we are judging ourselves that I have to be a certain way, I have to be cool, I have to be perfect, and we think that's what he expects, that's when we're digging a hole for ourselves, right? So let's say that today was the case and I was going through the same thing. So let's say my husband, for whatever reason, is talking about his ex. I have the tool that I use in my magnetic scripts program is that, let's say, Helena, you start talking about the ex and I'll be me.
Okay, this is so awesome. I was just gonna say, let's like role play this a little bit. So give people very specific. By the way, Shahrzad's program about magnetic scripting is in the description for everyone who wants to check that out. So if I were your man and I started talking about how my ex did things a certain way, or something that we experienced together, like, oh yeah, I went to this restaurant with my ex, or we went to vacation here.
Honey, can I share something with you?
Sure.
I am so grateful that you feel comfortable enough to talk to me about your experiences. And I know your intentions are really, really sweet. And when I hear about your ex, it makes me feel achy. Good. Is it okay if we don't talk about it again?
I love that. And the internet, I think, maybe skipped out a little bit. Can you just recap exactly what you just said?
Sure.
I heard it doesn't feel good. What did you say right after that?
So is it okay if we don't bring up the subject of ex anymore?
Perfect. I love that, right? Something about that just feels icky to me, or it doesn't feel good. Is it okay if we don't talk about this? Perfect. And what have you found, either, in your experience or the experiences of your clients? Most men would love a little cheat sheet on what would make you happy and what doesn't feel good, right?
Exactly. And if you notice, I don't start with, don't talk about your ex. This is so insensitive of you when you bring up your sex. It makes me feel so bad. You're acknowledging that the intention of the man isn't to hurt you. He's not, because the most devastating for a man is to think that he is hurting you on purpose. So when you acknowledge the fact that it is not his intention, and if it is intention, I have to ask you, what are you doing in a relationship that you're with a man that is intending to hurt you? But if he's a healthy man and he's just clueless and he just doesn't know that this is something that is bothering you, you have the responsibility as an adult, as a woman in a relationship, to bring it up. And the way to do it is to always acknowledge the positive. So you start with the positives, that I'm grateful that you're sharing things with me. You're comfortable to share things with me. And I know that this is not your intention. And it doesn't feel good to me. I don't like feeling this way. Can we not do this again? And I have never heard of any of my clients that the guy said, no, I actually want to make you feel bad and I want to talk about my ex. Or no, you have to get used to the fact that I want to talk to my ex. That is a bad sign if that ever happens, but it never has.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a couple clients actually, where it's this thing comes up, this jealousy. I know we want to talk about this too, where men mentioning other women that they work with, or maybe there's like things on social media. They notice that he's liking
Mm,
somebody's posts.
mm,
What I wanted before these questions get away from me, we have so many good ones. Someone asked, how can I communicate my standards without losing the friendship or possible romantic relationship? Someone else said, can you please provide us with tips on how to have successful conversations about boundaries and needs and difficult feelings without seeming needy or judging your own needs? So let's
mm.
talk about this within the context of jealousy, because I know this is something we definitely want to talk about.
Sure, sure. I did miss a little bit of the question. The internet got cut off. So she said difficult about boundaries. Can you just quickly repeat the second part of it?
Sure, yeah. Provide us with tips on how to have successful conversations about boundaries and needs and difficult feelings.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So let's say one of your boundaries is that you don't like to be waiting, for example.
Mm.
You have set a date and he is half an hour late. And instead of, acting cool like you don't care, because you don't want to appear needy, you want to speak up. And you, again, want to come from a place of, first of all, positive. And when he gets there, you say, it always feels amazing to see you. I'm so looking forward to our date today. And when I'm kept waiting, it makes me feel unimportant. It makes me feel like my time is undervalued, and it doesn't make me feel good. Is there something that we can do about this?
I love that. That is totally brilliant, because again, it can be difficult. The second part of her questions was how to not judge your own feelings and needs. And I'd love to hear anything you have to say on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's not judging your own feelings. Well, your feelings are what makes you a woman. We being in touch with our feelings and emotions and having this beautiful circular way of being is what makes us women. And for you to judge yourself and make yourself wrong for it, you're basically disregarding your feminine essence, something that men are crazy about, something that men actually feel so drawn to. So I do highly encourage you to embrace your feelings and really get in touch with them, really, really get to know them, because a lot of times when I come, and it was me too, but my clients they don't even know how they're feeling in the moment. They really are unsure of whether it's a jealousy or they're upset or they're mad. It's all these soup of feelings that they just like they're up in their head and not connected to the what's going on the inside. So I take them through an exercise and I ask them to take a breath and really, really drop down to their belly and see what is there. Is there anger? Because as women, that's something we really, really avoid. I think we have been wrong to feel angry. Like, we've learned from our mothers that it's not okay for us to be angry. So a lot of times we are feeling angry, but we start crying about it. Well, we actually cry. We think we are sad because we are so disconnected, right? So, sorry, carry on.
I totally agree. No, I just want to jump in and say how true that is. I love working with clients with anger and rage and intense feelings, because we often want to stuff them down, right? We often want to like be more reasonable than that and talk ourselves out of how we're feeling, and kind of push it away and rise above it and distance ourselves from it. But I say that your feelings are like your best friends, right? They're your indicators, right? They're your indicators
Absolutely.
that something's not right here, or that things feel good, and you can just stand there. Thank you guys so much for all your comments. Lauren says, early on in a relationship, I wasn't open and honest with the guy I was dating, and I would put on a happy face. Then from time to time, he would say, there's something about you I can't trust. It's exactly what we were talking
Mhm.
about, right?
Exactly. Men are amazing energy readers. They don't know what's going on, but they know something isn't right, something feels off. And he's such a good mirror that just told you that.
So true. So true. We're getting some really great questions about exclusivity and things like that. There's one, Heather says, I've been in an exclusive sexual relationship with a guy for around 5 months. I wanted this at the time, but now, although we have great chemistry, I feel I want more. How can I talk to him about it? That's a great question. Woman who wants more from a man. I'd love to hear everything you have to say on that.
Yes, perfect. I love this topic too. So first of all, find out what is more to you. Is more to you a more permanent commitment? Is it more dates? Is it more attention? What is more to you? And let's say if she's not specifying anything, let's say that she wants more attention from him. And the way I suggest going is, again, with the appreciation. You go up to him and say, always remember, ladies, to ask for, is it a good time? One of the biggest mistakes I used to make is that just starting off my scripting, whether like he was in the middle of, watching basketball, or he was doing something and I was ready to talk. So I thought he was too. And that's something that, if a man hasn't given you his attention, you're not really going to get what you want out of that difficult conversation. So always ask whether now is a good time or not. And if he says yes, great. If he says no, then you say, thank you for letting me know. When can we talk? I just want to share with something. Avoid saying we need to talk. That is a trigger sentence for men. We need to talk means you're in trouble. So always say, I'd love to share something with you. When are you available to hear me out? Or are you available to hear me out? So that immediately puts their defense down. They feel like they didn't just do something wrong and they're not in trouble. So when he says yes, I'm sure, what is it? You bring up the good in the relationship. I feel so close to you, and then I'm so happy to be in this in relationship with you, and mention something good that he does. I love the way you treat me. I love the way you always want to make sure that I'm safe. Something that is true. Never be lying about it. Never lie and make things up, because that will make him not trust you. So, and you can say, lately I've been feeling like a little lonely, or I've been missing your attention, and it would feel so much better to me. I would feel so loved if we go on regular dates. Is that something that you're willing to do? Or how does that sound to you? And the reason I always end with a question is because when we end masculine energy, the minute you make him a problem solver. Now you stated a problem, you said what it is, now you're asking him to come up with a solution, and that makes him more attracted to you. He's in his masculine, you're in your feminine.
Absolutely. I love everything you said. It's like you're inviting him to step into his masculine and help solve the problem with you. I've certainly found that men are kind of more invested in making something work and meeting your needs and doing what's going to make you happy if they feel that they were like a part of the solution, rather than like, this is an obligation, this is something I have to do because she needs me to do it. Totally different energy and vibe, right?
Totally. A man loves to be a hero. He loves to be the one that comes up with a solution. And he might ask, is one, and when he comes up with a solution, if he says that, okay, is one date night a month, okay, and you have to be honest in that moment. You can, if it's not enough, that you could say thank you for suggesting that, and if it was more frequent, like maybe twice every month or once a week, that would make me feel really happy. Is that okay with you? And that's the part that we have to speak up. He wants to make us happy. He just needs guidance, and he just needs to be told and not be assumed the mind reader.
Yeah, I always say, even the most masculine energy men need a little a little guidance, a little encouragement at times. And most men would be thrilled to know what it is that would make you happy, especially if he's the right guy, right? And another thing I always say is that, the point of doing this is not to make a guy do what you want or mold him into some kind of robot who's only there to serve you. This is about just expressing your needs, expressing what it is that would make you feel good around things that truly matter to you, and then see what he does with that information. Does he step up? Does he want to meet your needs, right? Or does he dismiss your feelings? Does he tell you that that's unreasonable? His response is going to give you so much information in terms of what he's got, what he's capable of, how much motivation he has in the relationship to make you happy, right?
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. So that's exactly what I always say. You cannot be coming from an attached place to the outcome. Your job is to express. Your job is to say how you feel, and then allow him to be, whether or not he's capable of fulfilling that need. And if he's not capable of fulfilling that need, then you have to do some check-in with you. Is that a deal breaker for you? Is this something that you are willing to, because you can't be continuously beating him up for something that he's just not wanting to do. It is your responsibility to come up with whether or not I want this to happen or not. So from the observation mode, you observe and you make a decision for yourself.
That is so brilliant. And you're coming from this place of complete non-attachment to the result. So different than being like, I need you to do this, trying to pull something out of a man that he's not freely giving to you all on his own pretty much never works, at least not in any permanent way. He might do what you want for a little while, but unless it's coming from his own feelings of feeling inspired to want to give to you and make you happy, you can't keep that going forever, right, Shahrzad?
Absolutely not. Absolutely, you're totally right. We have to be willing to see whether or not he wants to or doesn't want to, and we have to honor that. It's not like, well, now I told you once, that means you're never going to do that again, right? It doesn't work that way. And shaming a man to do something, telling a man that he needs to do something, criticizing him, comparing him to someone else, complaining, all of these are major attraction killers for men. And you have to one of the things that I definitely want to mention is that when you're sharing a feeling that is like a negative feeling, let's say that when we want to talk about, let's say like he has a wandering eye, like he looks at other women. That's something that I have, my clients have encountered. And when you say you make me feel jealous, a person, when you say you make me feel something, they can immediately go to defense and say, I don't make you feel that way, because that's not what their intention is. But when we say that I feel this way when my partner looks at other women in my presence, I feel disrespected and I don't like feeling this way. He can't say, no, you can't feel disrespected. Like it's just, there's no room for him to defend himself, and he's not feeling that you are wrong, you are a bad man, you are a shameful man. So his guards come down. So you in a negative statement is a big no.
That is so important to mention. If you can, sometimes you have to say you to set context, but as much as you can, removing that word from your vocabulary when you're expressing some of those feelings is great. You said it perfectly. It's not, you made me upset when you looked at that other woman. This is how I'm feeling right now.
Experiencing it. I'm experiencing it as a bad feeling, and I don't like feeling this way.
Absolutely. There's no arguing with that. I call it the other way of doing it, kind of arguing at the level of the complaint. Like, you were flirting with her, but he, sometimes to a man, he doesn't see it that way. He thought he was just being friendly. And so he's like, well, no, I wasn't flirting. Now you're just arguing at the level of the complaint, and it's not going to get you anywhere. But if you do what Shahrzad said, you express your feelings, not only does that prevent you from getting hooked into this masculine argument, like, well, it was flirting, no, it wasn't flirting. Now you're not arguing at the level of the complaint. Now you're just expressing how you're feeling, and then you're watching what he does with that information, right?
Exactly. And you have to also give the guy some room and space to process that, because when we deliver an amazing script, we're like, all right, now let's see what you've got. They don't take relationship coaching. They are not that as invested as you are in knowing just how to work with this. You have just learned these skills, they haven't. But if you give them the space, so let's say that it's a really, really difficult conversation. Let's say that he has actually put you down. You were in with your friends, and he said something that it made you feel ridiculed, for example, and it made you feel humiliated. So that's when we want to say the things that we need to say, and then give him some space to process it. So let's say that happened, and the way I would go about it, say that I need to share something with you. Is this a good time? He says yes. And again, I'll start. You don't need to appreciate him, but you can say, I know that this was not the intention, and at least I'm hoping it wasn't the intention. If you are really hurt, you can say that. And when I was talked to this way, I felt really humiliated, and I didn't like feeling that way. And then you walk away.
I love that. Hearing those words didn't feel good. Not when you said this, it really pissed me off.
How dare you to me like that?
Totally. Yeah. A lot of counselors will advise couples to talk to each other like that. And I don't agree with that at all. I like what you said, keeping it all about yourself and your own experience. So many great comments and questions, you guys. It's so hard to keep up with all of them. They're popping up so fast. What about somebody who is single and they're interested in a guy? I got a great question. Let's see. A guy from work had asked someone about me. I talked to him and told him that he can ask me out for a beer, but since then he just looks at me and talks to me, but he doesn't ask me out. Any tips for someone who's single in that situation?
So I've actually divided my program for dating and for relationships, because the levels that we script with while we're dating and we are in relationships, in my opinion, is different, because the level of our investment in that with that person is different. So when you are in a relationship with a man, he has already made up his mind that he wants to be with you and he wants to make you happy. Someone that you barely know, you haven't even been on a date, we have no idea. He has not invested in you, and he may or may not be wanting to give you more. So you have to keep the level of expectation and the level of scripting at a different level, and not expect him to step up and be your Prince Charming when he hasn't given you any indication that doing that. So when it comes to this situation, not ghosting, I would highly advise you to trust that if a man really, really wants you, he knows what he needs to do. He needs to you're right there. He can come and ask you, and you don't need to do anything to make it easy for him, or just make it happen. You can definitely, with your body language, look at him and smile and be friendly, but to facilitate him asking you out, I just don't see that he has earned the privilege for you to do that. He hasn't stepped up to the point that a script is necessary in this case.
Yeah, especially given the fact that you already told him he can ask you out. I have a video on what to do if a man's giving you mixed signals. If you really want to know once and for all, I suggest giving one clear indicator of your interest and then seeing what he does, leaning back into your feminine energy. Exactly. It sounds like you already did that. So yeah, now just watch what he does. And of course, open up your energy, interact with other men, date other men, go on dates, let them give to you, experience what it's like receiving a man's energy and attention, right?
Absolutely.
Always a good thing.
Absolutely. It's that when that energy is lifted from her and from him, then there is a chance that he can see that you might slip away, and then for him to step up if he is capable of it.
Absolutely. And just want to say hi to everybody watching. Tiffany, Heather, Lee, Aldina, Lauren says this is really empowering. Thank you. You're welcome.
Oh,
This is
you're welcome.
great. Yeah. The question that came in from Heather about, wanting more from a man, wanting more of a relationship. She just added, our relationship is strictly sexual. He always wants to come to my place. I've never been on a date with him, been to his place or met any of his friends. Shahrzad, what would you have to say about that?
I would ask if you're in a friends with benefits situation and not really a relationship. And if that is the case, and you have reached the limit of you don't want to continue this way, yes, it's going to be a difficult conversation. And what I want you to decide is to whatever however it goes, know that it's going in your favor, because staying in this situation where you're friends with benefits and it's not going to go anywhere, it's just going to end up in your heartbreak. The longer it goes, it's never going to be anything more if you don't do anything about it right now, and it's just going to continue this way. So the way, if we were talking together, I would ask you to say that this has felt really, really fun for me, and I liked what we had at the time, and I feel more, I how do I want to say it? If you have feelings for him, I would actually say that I can continue down this path because I have developed feelings for you. And this is difficult for me to say, and I understand that this wasn't our original agreement. And now I have to say that I can't go on like this anymore. If there is anything that he wants to add, he can. And if not, you have to make that loving decision for yourself and let him go. And if there's any chance for him to want more, then that is the way. Being in this situation is the sure way up for it never going anywhere else. And I've made that mistake before. I have to be completely honest. These situations just ends up because men can have sex and not develop real feelings, while I don't see many women being able to do that.
I totally agree. I've seen situations like this go on for years and years and years. So yeah, you have to set that boundary for yourself if this is truly what you want, and stick to it with your actions, right? Not just your words. It's not, men respond to your actions and your distance and your behavior and your vibe and energy much more than just the words themselves. You have to have both in combination with each other. Getting some great questions. 3 questions came through all around jealousy. Someone's jealous of a man's roommate. He said there was nothing between them, but she was there for him, and he talks about her a lot. Another one says, a man tells me I shouldn't be jealous of the girl he's hanging around because he's not attracted to her. And then another person says, how to deal with jealousy I feel of my boyfriend's past relationships. He's had several relationships where I've only had one. So anything you have to say about dealing with your feelings of jealousy? Of course, I have my own ways of dealing with this, but I'd love to hear what you have to say first. And then, is there something that needs to be expressed here to some of these men?
100%. So I hear you. Let's talk about the last one first. So feeling jealous of a man who has had several relationships in the past, I would definitely, there's nothing that you can do to undo that. There is nothing that you can do to make him, change his past. So this is a decision that you have to make, that, do I want to be with a man that has been with many other women? And my advice, my expert advice on that is that, he has had experience and he hopefully learned from them. And now he's choosing to be with you. Now he's choosing to be with you. There are no other women. He's not in touch with all his exes. And then there is, you're the one that he's choosing. So focus in the present moment, and don't make something out of something that is not happening right now, because that's just suffering, and that's not going to really make any, what's the point of thinking about the fact that he has had many past relationships, really. You have this information now. If you really can't deal with it, then you have to let him go. I don't advise that, but I really feel that there's you have to focus on the fact now that he wants to be with you. He's committed to you. And so let the past stay where it belongs.
I totally agree. I always tell women in this situation that you're making a choice to be with this man right now, and so which means you're accepting him for who he is in this moment, because a man's going to feel helpless if you keep bringing up things from the past, especially because there's nothing he can do about it. So whether it be his past relationship history, or if he made a mistake or hurt you before in the past, if you're choosing to be with him, as difficult as this can be, really just like accepting him, accepting the situation, and just know that you're making a choice in that moment. You don't have to be with this man, right? So it gives you a little more power. A lot of jealousy questions. How do we deal when your man is surrounded by beautiful women? I'm not jealous, but obviously he's going to look at them. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Lauren says, as far as jealousy, it comes from a place of lack. You have to love yourself enough to know that you are unique. I totally agree. Anything else when it comes to jealousy? We should probably do a whole nother video on this. I didn't realize it was such a thing. This is why I love doing live streams, because I get this immediate feedback. So we'll do another video on jealousy if you guys are interested. But yeah, any last words on that, Shahrzad?
So it's I don't believe that jealousy is a lack of self-love. I believe in honoring all feelings, and not one is better or worse than the other. However, there is toxic jealousy and there is healthy jealousy. If your man is obviously flirting with another woman right in front of you and you feel jealous, that is you being human, and that's normal behavior, in my opinion. Now, if you feel jealous because he cannot be in a room when there are other women, that is the inner work that you need to do, because you cannot control a man. You cannot make him not see and look at other women. And the truth is, and it is a unpopular, women don't like it, but men do look at other women, and it just happens to, you have to assess what kind of a man are you. Are they like drooling over another woman when they are passing by and it's disrespectful, or it's in passing and they, for a split second, their eyes just catches onto them, and then they have the discipline to come to center again. So it's all comes down to that. But toxic jealousy is what needs to be dealt with on your own. If it's healthy jealousy, if it's like, he's flirting and it doesn't make you feel good, the tool is that it just didn't feel good. I know that was not the intention. And when my man speaks to another woman, the way he speaks to me, it makes me feel insecure. It makes me feel jealous, and I don't like feeling that way. Is there something that you can do about that?
Beautiful. I could not have said that better myself. That was the perfect script. You're such an expert at this. I love it. I love lots of questions about an ex, right? Does this work on an ex? I would say the question of does this work? It's like, this is just, you're expressing your feelings, you're expressing your needs and boundaries, because this is who you are, right? You are a empowered feminine woman who's in touch with herself, who's confident enough to express some of these things. And the right man for you, the right people for you are going to, of course, want to honor that, and the wrong people will not. And you won't have to micromanage it, right?
Exactly. The whole point of a scripting is to express, and it is a filtering process. It is not meant to get you the man. It's meant for you to attract the man. So if he is the right match for you, he will honor your feelings. I'm not saying 100% of the times he's going to do every single thing that you ask, but majority of the time he will. So if let's say that your boundary is that for him to honor your needs of not wanting to be late, and if he's continuously late, then you have a choice to make. You observe and you say, okay, I've expressed this 2 times and he's not honoring it. Now I can't make him, I can push him. Then it's my choice to say that this doesn't work for me anymore.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, someone else asked, or they're being friends with an ex, but they kind of regret it. They just did it for closure. I gotta say, closure is overrated. It's my own personal opinion. A lot of times his actions will tell you everything you need to know. And, needing that closure, if you're compromising yourself because you just need that closure, sometimes what you think you need is not, it doesn't come in a way that feels satisfying in the way you think it will, right?
100% agreed. I so agree with that. And I understand the whole ex jealousy and ex, all of it around that. And it really is, you have to stick to it. Men will also try to push boundaries, um, not because they're mean and they're bad, but that does create attraction. The more a woman sticks to her own needs and boundaries, the more attractive she becomes to him. And a man wants to see how much do you mean your words. If he is making a decision, for example, to choose a life partner, he wants to see a woman that really, really does mean what she says. So he may unconsciously test you to see how are you really, really honoring and mean what you say, or you're just saying it now, like you're saying you don't want to be friends with benefits, and then tomorrow that he comes over, you let him in, and then you have that conversation again over and over and over. So you need to stick to it.
I totally agree. It is so important. So important. Christina says yes to a jealousy video. Let's do that. That's a great, I didn't even think about that as a video. So perfect. Someone says, can you please do a video on boundaries, setting, communicating, reinforcing? I actually have an amazing video on boundaries. One of my favorite videos I've ever done with Brian Reeves, super brilliant relationship coach. It's called How to Set Boundaries in a Way That Demonstrates Your Value and Brings Him Closer. If you want to search for that, if you can't find it after I post this, let me know in the comment section and I'll post a link to that. Everybody should watch that. Let's do one more question and then we should probably wrap up because I know we both have to go. Sure. Brenda says, my husband is unable to have deep conversations. He says that he doesn't talk a lot. I'm walking on eggshells, questioning our marriage, and tired of trying to accept this as my marriage. Oh, that's a deep question, Shahrzad. Any quick words of wisdom for someone in that situation?
So I hear you, and it's difficult to accept that. And without deep conversations, there is no real foundation to the relationship. Now, I also say that be mindful of the words that you're saying. He's unable to have deep conversation is judgment. And I'm sure that you have experienced it. I'm sure that you have, validation, like there are evidence that you feel that way. But have you learned the complete communication skills coming from a place of total appreciation, really, really giving him the credit for all the things that he does right, opening that space for him to feel good in his relationship, then that he can take the feedback on the things that he's not doing so great. Sometimes men get so exhausted of being always told that you're not doing anything right that they do tune out. They really, really do. So I feel that with a bit of a practice of gratitude, acceptance, and appreciation of him, and learning how to communicate in a way that we just talked about, there is a good chance that he's your husband. If he's your husband, he has made a commitment to you, and it means that he wants to make you happy. So there is definitely hope for that to be fixed.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have a little more leverage in that situation because it's, in a sense, he's kind of made that commitment that he wants to be that person to meet your needs. And yeah, last one, Heather says, he said he wants to be exclusive sexually, but nothing more. I've said in the past, I want a relationship. He wants to see me many times a week, but it seems strictly sexual. Yeah, so you got to believe him. Believe him.
Get out, girl. Get out.
Yeah, continuing to just see him for these like sexual encounters is not going to get you one step closer to what you want. He's in this situation because he wants to be, so he assumes you are too, because he told you he just wants something sexual. So if you're continuing to engage with him in that way, and you guys aren't going on real dates, you're not in a relationship, he thinks everything's fine. It's like there's no reason for him to do anything if he believes
your actions. Yes, he believes your actions. He's like, oh, she's just saying it. She is into it. So you got your actions and words have to match, and you got to cut him loose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Lee says she's good. Yes, Shahrzad is awesome. Everybody loves her. I know we're short on time. Let's talk a little bit about your scripting program. It's in the description, and also any free gift that you'd like to share, I believe is also in the description as well.
Yes. So thank you for that. So I have this free guide that is 3 blocks that keeps love away. I just go through, how successful women that are just big accomplishments, how they can accomplish everything, but when it comes to men and love, it is still a mystery. So there is that. And my magnetic scripts, it is the birth of 6 months of my work. So it was a 6-month program that I did live with a group of women, and they brought their questions and I addressed them. And it goes from dating to the relationship. And I've separated into 2 parts because it is different. Now, of course, there are things that you can use if you are already in a relationship in the dating phase, when there is a little bit of things that you're always dating your husband and your spouse, right? So you can still use that, but it comes from, what do I say if he only says hello? What do I say if he asks for sexy pictures? What do I say if he, wants to have sex and I'm not ready yet? How do I give if I don't want to be in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship? So a lot of examples of scripts, and it's really not about you repeating my words. What I do in this program is that I make it your own words. So I'm not that coach that says, here are 3 magical words that you can send him and make him yours forever. I don't believe in that. And I have more respect for men to believe that just one script can make them theirs, like they're deeper than that. But I go through the process of how you can actually access your own feelings and say them in a way that is authentic to you, because you are all different, and you can bring him closer if he's the right one for you. And it's funny, yesterday was my anniversary with my husband. So I offered a promotion of $100 off the program for my group for 24 hours. But since we are talking about it, I'm going to continue it for this weekend. Whenever our audience sees this video, they can use the link and they're going to get $100 off the program if they are interested.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That is so generous. Awesome. Let's see. We have to run. I'm actually doing another live stream on the Commitment Connection channel in like a couple minutes. So I'll be over there if anyone is free and wants to go over there. So you're welcome, Brenda, Heather, Lauren, everybody. If we didn't get to your question, maybe ask it below once I post this in the comments, and then maybe Shahrzad, if you ever have any time, if you'd want to respond to people.
Absolutely. I will definitely come back and look at the comments. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for all the questions, and I'll do my best to answer one by one.
Oh, that is so sweet and generous of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so if we didn't get to your question, we're so sorry. We're short on time today. We'll do this again, but yeah, when I publish this, post it in the comment section, and then both of us can look through and hopefully answer as many as we can.
Yes.
So awesome. So everyone go check out Shahrzad's free gift and her scripting program on sale now. So generous. This was amazing. We love you guys, and we hope to do this again soon. Shahrzad, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Love to you. Sorry, got frozen for 2 seconds, but thank you again, and lots of love.